Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to teach you what are all the important operating system questions that you are going to face during your interviews. Like if you have got selected for the companies where there is requirement for operating system, or if you keep in your resume that you know the operating system, then uh, it's for sure that the interviewer is going to ask you a question related to OS. So I'm going to discuss with you all the important questions that interviewer are going to ask. So let's get started. Okay. So what is operating system? That should be the first question. So operating system is a software program that facilitate computer hardware to communicate and operate with the computer software. So it means that it is a software program which helps to communicate between the hardware and the software program of the computer. And second question is, what are the different type of OS? So there are basically 5 type of OS. First is batched OS, multi-programmed OS, time-sharing OS, distributed OS, and real-time OS. And all the examples are here included in it. So the third question is, what is the main purpose of an operating system? So basically there are two main purposes of an operating system. First one is, it will make sure that whatever the computational activities that our computer are going to perform, that should be in a proper way. Means it will manage all those things. And the second purpose is that it will provide the environment for the execution of the program. So that is the main purposes of an operating system. Then what is real-time system and kernel? So real-time system is basically for rigid time requirement. What it means, that it is used for real-time application. Okay, that means if you are working on online project and at that time only you want to do some modification on that, so that is called as real-time based. Okay. Then what is kernel? So kernel is the core of an operating system. Okay, so it will help to provide all the services for a computer. So the fourth question is, what is RAID structure in OS and what are the different level of RAID configuration? So RAID, it means redundant array of independent disk. Okay, so like it is used to store multiple hard disk. Okay, means there are collection of disk. How it is going to store it, means with the parity or without parity, and all kind of disk it will store. So therefore it is also considered as data storage virtualization, since it will store virtualized. So these are the different level of RAID. So basically there are 7 uh, level of RAID. First is RAID 0, where there is no redundant stripping, means it is a simple RAID level. And RAID 1 will follows mirroring technique, means like it will mirror, like suppose there is two disk named as AB, then it will mirror same A and B disk will be getting mirrored. So it will follow the redundancy technique. Like if something will be lost, then it has the mirroring thing is there, so it will take it from there. Then RAID 2 is basically the combination of RAID 0 and RAID 1, and also known as memory style and error correcting codes. Then RAID 3 is bit interleaved parity. So as we have seen in RAID 1 that there is mirroring technique, so in RAID 3 instead of mirroring there should be parity, so that the parity bit will act like if something will be lost, then you can get the help through this parity bits. So RAID 4 is also block interleaved parity. Then like a single parity disk means a collection of disk will be there, but except that there is one another disk that is called as parity disk. And in RAID 5 there should be distributed parity, means the parity in RAID 3 and 4 there will be another block of parity disk, but in RAID 5 the parity disk will be, means the parity bit will be distributed in all the disk. There is not separate parity disk, okay, it is distributed in all the disk. RAID 6 is also like that only, and it will follow P plus Q redundancy. Next question is, what do you mean by process? So process means execution of the program is known as process, means some program is executing, that is known as process. So basically there are two types of process. One is operating system process and the second one is user process. What are the different state of process? Okay, when the interviewer is going to ask you what are the different state of process, you need to answer all the 5 state of process, and that should be in sequence wise. Like you can't say at first running then new state. No, it should be new state, running, waiting, ready, and terminate. So let's see. New state means it is the state where the process is just created. Means suppose, means you have to imagine that how the process is going to start. Suppose something is there, then first it will create a new state, okay, so where the process is creating, then after that what it will happen, that it will start running, okay, based on the CPU's instruction it will start running. After that it will wait to get, means it will wait that if there is some another event is occurring, okay, so it need to wait, right? And if the event has already occurred, then it will get in the ready state, okay. So after everything got completed, then it will terminate, means it will finish its execution and it will stop. So what is bootstrap program in OS? So it is a generally program that initialized during OS startup. What it does mean that if the OS will get started, then what first it will follow is that the OS got loaded, okay, loaded with some kind of function or some kind of program that we know, that we call it as bootstrap. So the 9th question is, what is the use of paging in operating system? Okay, so paging, like see, if there are so many pages are there, and the little means the unnecessary fragmentation should be, means fragmentation is there, okay, so to solve that unnecessary fragmentation, like somewhere spacing is there that is not required, or somewhere extra disk has been included that is not required, so for solving all those problems we used paging. So the 10th question is, explain demand paging. Okay, so we have seen that what is paging, okay, so now it's asking what is demand paging. So when we ask for page, okay, to load the page into memory on demand, means we are asking it, so that is called as demand paging, and this is basically used in the virtual memory. The next question is, what is virtual memory? Okay, so virtual memory is a very useful memory technique, okay, so which enables the process to execute, okay, to execute outside of memory. The next question is, what do you mean by RTOS? RTOS is nothing but real-time operating system, okay, so real-time operating system is basically used for real-time application, okay, so I told you before also what is real-time application, okay. Question is, what is IPC and what are the different type of IPC mechanism? Okay, so IPC is inter-process communication, okay, so what is inter-process communication? So means the memory is shared between both process also or thread also, okay, so it can be shared between any of these, process or thread. So as the name suggests, inter-process communication, so in this the OS allows different type of process to communicate with each other. These are the following different IPC mechanisms where the communication can be done: pipes, messaging queue, semaphores, socket, shared memory, and signals. 14th question is, what is difference between main memory and secondary memory? Okay, so what is main memory? Okay, so basically main memory in a computer, that is ROM, okay, which is also known as primary memory or read-write memory. So where everything will be done at first, means like the execution of program will be done and that thing will be getting and stored into memory. Okay, what is secondary memory? So secondary memory, we can basically call it as backup memory, or for storing the external data, that is called as secondary memory. Okay, so like when our main memory is busy or something happening in that, so we will shift it to secondary memory. Okay, and secondary memory are very high capable of storing high volume data. Okay, so our 15th question is, what is thrashing? Okay, so thrashing means where our virtual memory, okay, means our processor, what it will be doing, it will spend its most of the time for swapping the pages. Okay, means it has to execute the program, right? But rather than it spend most of its time for swapping the pages. And the 16th question is, what are the 4 necessary and sufficient conditions behind the deadlock? Okay, so basically there are 4 conditions behind the deadlock. What is deadlock first? We have to know. Like suppose there are two process. Okay, A and B are 2 process, and A want to get B resource where B want to get A resource. Okay, and both of them can't share the resource with each other. Okay, so at that time the deadlock condition will occur. So there are 4 necessary condition behind deadlock, that is mutual exclusion condition. Okay, it is specifies that the resource involved are non-shareable, means I told you that both can't share their resources, so that is called mutual exclusion condition. Then the second is hold and wait condition. Okay, so it specifies that there must be a process that is holding a resource already allocated to it. So I told you that A is holding the resource while waiting for additional resource, means A is waiting for the B resource also, right? And so both can't share. So that is hold and wait condition. And no preemptive condition, means resource cannot be taken away while they are being used by the process. Since A and B are using its resource, so that's why they are not sharing their resources with each other. Then circular wait condition. So it is an explanation of the second condition. It specifies that the process in the system form a circular list or a chain where process in the chain is waiting for a resource held by next process in the chain. As I have taken the example, same thing it is written over there. What is thread? So thread is a path of execution. See, we know what is program. Okay, program is process in execution, but thread is a path of execution. Okay, the path. Write top 10 example of OS. So these are some of the example of operating system: Windows, Ubuntu, Mac OS, Fedora, Solaris, FreeBSD, Chrome OS, CentOS, Debian, and Android. Then the 19th question is, what are the difference between thread and process? As I told, thread, first thing you can specify that process, programming execution is called process, and thread is the state of execution, like path for execution. And these are 2 another differences, that is threads are executed within the same process, means in same process thread can be executed, but process can be executed in different memory spaces. Okay, and thread are not independent of each other. Okay, like thread will be dependent, means if one process will be done, then only the thread can go ahead, where processes are independent of each other, means if one process is getting done, then other process can also be get it done. Okay, it will not wait for another process. So what is fragmentation? Fragmentation is basically the phenomenon to reduce the memory wastage. It will remove the spaces that is getting wasted and all, and it will improve the CPU performance. So there are two type of fragmentation. One is internal fragmentation and another is external fragmentation. So the internal fragmentation, it occurred when it has the fixed size of allocation unit. Okay, means the resource will be having fixed size, and external fragmentation where the resource will be having variable size allocation units. So what do you mean by FCFS? Okay, FCFS means first come first serve. What does it mean? That who is going to come first, that is going to serve first. Okay, it means as the process arrives, it will execute basis of on the basis of that. Like if the first process arrived at first, that will be getting executed first, second will be executing after first, and then third will be executed after second. So that is called as first come first serve. The 23rd question is, what is the difference between paging and segmentation? So these are the two difference. I explained earlier what is paging and segmentation. So here paging, it is invisible to the programmer, like programmer can't see what it is going, means what it is doing, and it is visible to the programmer. In this, sizes of pages are fixed. In this, sizes of segment is not fixed. Okay, pages size is fixed everywhere. Okay, and here procedure means in paging, pages size are fixed. Then procedure and data cannot be separate in paging, whereas that can be done in segmentation. Okay, it allows a cumulative total of virtual address space to cross physical main memory. And here in segmentation, it allows all program data and code to break up into independent address spaces. Here it is mostly available on CPUs and MMU chips, and this segmentation, it is available on Windows Server, while Linux has limited support. And it is faster for memory access. Paging is faster than the segmentation. So the 24th question is, what is the difference between multitasking and multiprocessing question? Multiprocessing OS. This is the important question for interview. It's like everything is important, but this will be asked several times. Okay. Multitasking. So multitasking means one system, okay, like one processor can do multiple tasks at a time. Okay, one processor is doing multiple tasks at a time, and it can switch between the tasks. Okay, so these are also known as time sharing. Okay, that means like it can do the switching things. What is multiprocessing? Okay, multiprocessing means multiple process. In multitasking, there is a single process, whereas in multiprocessing, multiple process means like two or more process will do their task, and it will complete in a shorter period. Say it's 2-3 process are doing the work, so everything will be completed in shorter period of time. So the 25th question is, what do you mean by socket in OS? Okay, so socket is basically the end point of IPC. IPC, inter-process communication. Okay, and it also allows the communication either between two different process or between the two same process. So it is basically based on the client server mechanism. Okay, like TCP and UDP. So there are basically 4 type of socket: stream socket, datagram socket, sequence packet socket, and raw socket. So the 26th question is, what is starvation and aging in OS? Okay, so when we are using priority scheduling or shortest job first scheduling, SJF scheduling, then this starvation can happen. Okay, so what is starvation? As the name suggests, starvation means like not getting food. Because of that, starvation is happening. Okay, so let's say like that, like when at the required time the required resource, means the process is not able to get the required resource at the uh, particular time. Okay, so that is known as starvation. Okay, means it is waiting for long time for its execution, and it is not being able to get the resource, so that is known as starvation. And what is aging? So aging, it is a technique to overcome the situation or problem of starvation. Means like it's going to increase the priority process. Okay, then means it is waiting for so much long time, right? In starvation, the process is waiting so much long time for getting executed. So what it will do in aging, that it will increase the priority, so the resource should not have to wait for a long time. So to overcome the starvation problem, aging is there. Okay, so what is Banker's algorithm? Okay, so we have seen that what deadlock is, right? So to avoid the deadlock, so it can't happen, so we used Banker's algorithm. It seems like what should happen in bank, like bank will never do something that it will never allocate available cash in such a manner that it can no longer satisfy all the customer need and requirements. Okay, so every time it will satisfy the customer need. So on the basis of that only, the Banker's algorithm is made to satisfy, means like to give if the user want the resource, then it will give it to them. So to avoid the deadlock, basically we are using Banker's algorithm. The 28th question is, what is context switching? Okay, so context switching is a process that will save one context, means one context of a process, okay, and load the another context of the process. Okay, so in this, basically what happens, the time will be getting saved, and also multiple process are sharing a single CPU, like multiple processing is happening, right? As the definition suggests, context switching is basically a process of saving the context of one process and loading the context of another process, right? So this is what context switching is. What are various sections of the process? Okay, what we have studied previously, that is what are state of the process, that is the 5 state. And here, read it carefully, what are various section of process? Okay, so that is also, it should be in sequence wise. Okay, so first is stack. Okay, so what stack is used for? So it is used for local variable and returns addresses. Heap, what it is used for? It is used for dynamic memory allocation. Data, so it store global and static variables. Code or text, it compromises compiled program code. So the last question is, explain zombie process. So what is zombie process? Okay, so see, zombie process means a process is terminated, means it is completed completely. Okay, what is that it is not getting cleaned up from the main memory, it still has some entry, okay, that it should have to report it to parent process, that the process has been completed. Okay, it should have to report it, but before that only process got completed, and there is the whole process block, it's not cleaned. Okay, so this is called zombie process. And so as I say that the process is completed, right, but still it has not said anything to the parent process. So what does it means is, it does not consume any of the resource. Okay, like it is not consuming any resource and is dead, but it still exists because it has not processed to or report to its parent process. Okay, so that's it for the video. If you have any doubt, or please comment it down, or if you want to make me another video like related to DSA or something, please comment it down. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and share.